Zoro having a bigger role in Wano was completely expected, and I'm standing by that take. In my last Zoro video, some people got mad at me and said, oh, you know, Oda like never came out and like said Wano was gonna be like very Zoro heavy, but it's basic storytelling. You just gotta connect the dots. Oda doesn't have to come out and tell us like Zoro is gonna be a big role. All you have to do is really realize, oh, Zoro is a person trying to become the world's strongest swordsman going to a country with a lot of swordsmen. Like, he's gonna get more shine because it's very relevant to him. And even beyond that, you had the whole connection with Ryuma and Shusui, so it all really set up for Zoro to have a bigger role in Wano. But in this video, I want to talk about what I still want to see from Zoro in Wano, because so far, and this is probably gonna get some people mad, there will probably be a little more dislikes in this video than usual, but so far, it's not enough. Like, I still have a lot I need to see and I want to see from Zoro. And I know Wano's not a Zoro arc and he has gotten a lot of shine already, and there's a lot of different other plot lines Oda has to focus on, but there's some things I really want to see from Zoro in Wano, so I'm gonna talk about it. And let's just start off with his lineage, because that's what I made the thumbnail after. Now, Zoro's connection and his lineage having a connection with Wano has been speculated within the community for a very long time, and again, that's like the most basic connection. It's like, oh, okay, a country of swordsmen, maybe Zoro, somebody who's trying to become the world's greatest swordsman, is possibly connected to that country in some way. And this idea kind of ramped up, especially when we found out more about Sanji's backstory, how it was more than we thought, and then Wano was directly following Whole Cake Island, so we were like, okay, maybe Zoro will get a similar type of treatment, we'll find out more about Zoro that way, and so far it really hasn't been that at all, and I'm not mad at that, right? I'm not disappointed that like we haven't found out about like Zoro's family or something. I think if you were genuinely disappointed in that, I think you were just getting too much into that headcanon theory of Zoro having a connection to Wano, because it's not like Oda has dropped a bunch of clues that Zoro's family is from Wano or something like that. However, in Wano, we did find out that Zoro has some kind of connection to Wano, and we kind of started realizing that when we got introduced to the Shimotsuki village, and we were like, wait a minute, hold on. That's the name of Zoro's village. And just a quick refresher on the Shimotsuki family, it's a very strong and prominent family in Wano before, you know, Orochi happened, but you had Yasuye, one of the daimyo. Another daimyo was Ushimaru Shimotsuki, the owner slash friend of Gyukimaru. The sword god Ryuma himself is also Shimotsuki, but the person who has a connection to Zoro is Shimotsuki Kozaburo. He is the legendary swordsmith who made both Enma and the Wado Ichimonji. And in SBS 96, Oda confirmed that Kozaburo is the father of Koshiro and the grandfather of Kuwena. And the story of Kozaburo is pretty much explained. He left Wano 50 plus years ago and eventually ended up in the East Blue somehow, and landed in the Shimotsuki village area, fought off some bandits and stuff, and then founded the Shimotsuki village. And Oda revealed this in the SBS because he was kind of already hinting it in the main story of the whole snatch thing, of Momo like saying it, and then Kiku was like, wait, why are you saying that? Only like old geezers say that. And then he was like, oh, I learned it from Zoro, and then later we found out Zoro also learned it from an old geezer in his village, and we were like, okay, is that Kozaburo? Because we had found out like Kozaburo left Wano 50 plus years ago, and then Shimotsuki thing, it was kind of all adding up. Oda just confirmed it in the SBS. However, while this is very critical information, like Kuwena being the granddaughter of a legendary swordsmith of Wano, it was confirmed in the SBS, which is kind of weird because like the people who only read the main story and doesn't like delve into like the SBS's or like watch One Piece YouTube videos, they still don't know about this connection of Kuwena and Kozaburo and the Shimotsuki village having a tie to Wano. And part of this I do believe is like Wano being so jam-packed already, and like Oda doesn't really have time to like fit in all these little details. Like, it's already around 80 chapters and the war really hasn't even started yet, but I do think it will be confirmed in the main story later on, like maybe when the dust is settled and Kaido has been defeated and they're talking about Zoro's swords again, of Enma and the Wado Ichimonji, and a little bit about Kozaburo, and then maybe Zoro himself could finally like confirm, oh, Kozaburo, that old man in my village, was the legendary swordsmith. He probably has no idea right now either. I want to see his reaction to like finding that information out, and also Kuwena being the granddaughter of Kozaburo, and maybe, just maybe, that leads to the information about Zoro's family. And I've always been intrigued by Zoro's lineage, not because I think it has to be like this, he's like from Wano, or like he's like born from a legendary sword family in Wano or something like that. It doesn't have to be like that for me. But it's just his last name or first name has been introduced since the beginning of the story. Roronoa Zoro, right? It was right off the bat when we got introduced to him, we found out his full name, and not many people get that treatment. It's either people like royalty, like Vivi, or very important people like Doflamingo, Don Quixote Doflamingo, being from the Don Quixote family, even Luffy, you know, finding out his father is Dragon and his grandfather is Garp. Sanji's last name being revealed was a big thing, having his connection to the Vinsmoke Germa family, and even somebody like Robin finding out her mother, Nika Ovia, was like a very prominent archaeologist, somebody from Ohara, a person who went against the world government trying to find the history. The only person off the top of my head that I could think of that has like their full name and really hasn't been like explained thoroughly and might not is Gecko Moria, but at the same time, that might just be like a dope name. But in most cases, having your full name, it means something. That name will like connect to something or like explain some sort of family connection. So the Roronoa bloodline, by the way, there's a very difficult last name to say, but that bloodline, that lineage, what was Zoro's family like? Because Zoro's flashback was done really quickly at the beginning of the story, like 900 plus chapters ago, and really was like kind of summed up in like a chapter essentially. But we don't get to see any of his family. Like, what made Zoro want to become a swordsman? Was it just the Shimotsuki village was like full of swordsmen and a bunch of kids that wanted to grow up as swordsmen? It could be his family's like nobodies, right? So like he wasn't fated or destined to be the world's greatest swordsman. It's that he like carried on Kuena's will. I'm fine with that. I don't need Zoro's family to be this legendary family that has a connection with Wano. I just want it to be explained a little more and kind of give us a glimpse of Zoro's childhood and like what really motivated to start his own journey as a swordsman. I'm just curious about it. So Zoro's family and his whole lineage and the whole Shimotsuki village connection to Wano, I want to see that fleshed out in the future. Now the next thing I want to see more of is sword techniques. And sword techniques I really expected more from in Wano because Kinemon, like this is a man who could light his sword on fire, and people forget how badass like that introduction was. This man cut through a big ass explosion and then later on said there is no flame I cannot cut. Like that was cold, man. That was hard. And even in that moment, Zoro said he was very intrigued by that sword technique and he was kind of just intrigued in general by Kinemon. And now we've gone through this whole grand adventure of Dressrosa and Zou and Whole Cake Island. Now we're on Wano, close to 80 chapters in, and we still have no explanation for it at all. But it does seem like we are getting glimpses of it as we are getting into this war, because last chapter Kiku explained her power a little bit. It sounds like a poetic wordplay kind of thing, but like the idea of her wounds carry on into like the afterlife, that's really dope to me. And like her epithet of the lingering snow, I'm sure has something to do with her own sword techniques. So like I want to see more of that, like Kinemon's Foxfire style. I want to see more of that get explained. Maybe like Denjiro, Kawamatsu, Ashura Doji, these guys really strong scabbards. I expect them to have their own techniques and styles as well. And that's one of the things that's been missing in Wano. Like this is a land of samurai and swordsmen, and yes, it's been building up like the story of the samurai and stuff, but let's see them in action. I want to see like what different techniques they have and like the strength of the samurai and all that type of stuff. But how does this relate to Zoro? Well, one, I think it could lead to him developing like more moves in the future, but I also feel like this will be a great way for Ashura to finally get like properly like explained. Like what is that all about? Why is he generating 3 heads? I'm sure if anybody could explain what is happening, it's the Samurai Wano. Like maybe Zoro busts that out in like an epic fight and showcases it. I'm sure maybe it's been upgraded post time skip, and then the Scabbers and other samurai witness that and they could kind of like explain it. Maybe not like completely, but like they could put it in better terms and understanding. And even beyond that, I feel like the samurai seeing Zoro in action and like seeing his techniques, like Zoro has a dumb amount of moves that like a lot of us probably have forgotten, but the samurai and the Scabbers seeing in Zoro in action and using these name moves, I feel like they could have a real appreciation for what he's doing, and that kind of interaction I would really love to see. But to see that kind of action, we're gonna need Zoro in a legitimate fight. And yes, like he's had a little bit of action in Wano already. I did just see a One Piece episode 934 with Zoro versus Killer, and it was beautifully animated, but that was really short in the manga, okay? It just got kind of dragged out in the anime. We need to see Zoro go all out in a fight against a really strong person where he is challenged and like really bust out all of his moves. Because so far post time skip, really Luffy's been getting all the action, and like that's why I'm dying. I am dying just for like Straw Hat one-on-one battles in Wano. Like I need to see it. Like really, we really haven't gotten any Straw Hat battles besides Luffy post time skip. Like any serious ones? Not really. Like Fisherman Island, a little bit, but they were all kind of fodder enemies. Like please Oda, I'm begging you, just give them all like their time to shine in an individual battle where they're really challenged and pushed. Like give them that shine. I need that, and think the fan base is dying for that action. And one of the people that need it most is Zoro, because he hasn't been challenged post time skip, so much so that people don't even know how strong he is. Like there's a question of like, is he stronger than Luffy before Whole Cake Island? Power scaling conversations are getting more and more toxic because we just haven't seen Zoro in any battles. Like, so Oda, please show us some action so like these conversations could settle down a little bit. And on top of that, Zoro's fights pre-time skip were so badass against Da's Bones, against Mihawk, that little battle, against Kaku as well. We need to see that sort of action. Let us see him challenge, and then use that as a way to give us like the glimpse of what he learned during the time skip, like those Rayleigh-esque flashbacks that Luffy has been getting. I want to see the same thing with Zoro and Mihawk. Like this man trained with the world's strongest swordsman for 2 years. He's gotta have a lot of moments that he remembered. What happened to that eye? By the way, let me just get this out of the way. I think that eye is just like a scar from Mihawk. I honestly don't think he's gonna like open it up and like do some crazy ass stuff, but you know, that's just my take on it. But yeah, I want to see Zoro's true power, what he learned during the time skip, a little flashback action with him and Mihawk, and him just in a legitimate fight and against a swordsman preferably too. Like he needs to fight more swordsmen before he becomes the world's greatest swordsman. So whether if it's who's who or king, just make sure it makes sense power wise and make sure it's a big epic fight. That's all I want from Zoro. And finally, maybe this is me personally, I'm probably not in the majority anymore when I say this, I think Zoro needs a defining, shining moment in Wano. Like I think the Straw Hats and the Samurai Alliance in general will be paraded as heroes after this whole war is over, but I think Zoro himself will be put on a pedestal to the same level as Luffy, in a similar way Usopp was in Dressrosa because of the whole God Usopp thing, or maybe even Sanji in Whole Cake Island after he made that huge cake and essentially saved everybody's lives by satisfying Big Mom's hunger. So I really think Zoro has to have a shining moment in Wano, because I think it makes sense. Like him trying to become the world's greatest swordsman, what better way to have like the country of samurai and swordsmen like parade him as somebody who is like godly, maybe not godly, but like very, very strong and a hero to their nation. Like Wano's gonna open its borders after this whole thing is over too, so people are gonna visit and like people are gonna leave as well. So if you have the samurai of Wano spreading stories about Zoro, that's another way to like up his notoriety as a swordsman. And I think it will be very fitting at the end of Wano where people will be comparing Zoro to the likes of both Ryuma and Oden. Like if people are asking the samurai of Wano like who are the like greatest swordsmen that you have ever seen, they're gonna say the sword god Ryuma, Oden, Kazuki Oden, and also Roronoa Zoro. And in a way you have a passing of a torch, right? Zoro has Shusui first, now he has Enma, and now it's like kind of his turn to deliver on his own. And there's also a whole bunch of connections with like Zoro and Ryuma and Oden, and like how they're similar as characters, but that's like not my type of like content. I would make this video very, very long and I have to do a lot of research for that. There's a lot of other people that have made videos talking about that stuff, so go check them out. But in this video we're not going to be diving into that kind of stuff, but what I do want to talk about a little bit when we're talking about like shining moment for Zoro, we have to bring up the potential of Zoro killing Kaido. And I'm not here to do a whole breakdown of it. If you're interested in that, Fiji has like a 45-minute two 45-minute videos on Zoro killing Kaido, and he does great research and it's very well edited, very well done, so peep that if you're interested. But for me, I just break everything down storytelling wise and if it makes sense, and my opinion on this is why not? Ultimately, I think Kaido has to die at the end of Wano, because one, if you want Wano to be free and Momonosuke to be the Shogun, Kaido has to be defeated, and if you don't kill him, he's just gonna hang around. You can't like somebody as strong as Kaido coming back attack, you can't risk that. And even beyond that, Kaido's introduction was literally him trying to kill himself, and we had this whole like dialogue about how he's like been unkillable and stuff. So I think this is all leading to a death for Kaido. So who in Wano could kill him, and how would it make sense? I think Luffy will end up dealing the most damage and be the main opponent for Kaido. And again, like with Zoro killing Kaido, it doesn't mean Zoro soloing Kaido and defeating Kaido by himself. It's him landing the finishing blow. And honestly, that idea I can get behind, because Luffy's not a person that kills, right? Like, he doesn't kill with intent, but Zoro, he has no problem with that, honestly. So we're talking about Zoro having this great moment, so maybe he gets his first individual fight with Who's Who, or probably King. I really hope more so King. He showcased a lot of skills there, defeats King with his own power, and people already recognize him as a great swordsman, but then he goes and lands the finishing blow on Kaido. That's monumental. Even if Luffy and like Kid and Law, they do the majority of damage, and then Zoro just comes in and cuts the head off, that's a moment right there. It doesn't matter if it's just like one blow that Zoro deals. Him landing the finishing blow would be a shining moment. I think it would be fitting for Zoro in Wano. But ultimately, I just think Zoro needs a shining moment in Wano. I think it would make sense for him. That's something I want to see. Him unlocking like Conqueror's Haki is another possibility that I could see. Oden had that, and if he awakens his Conqueror's Haki, I feel like the samurai will have a pretty like big reaction to it as well. It's like, oh, okay, that's something only like Oden had. That's a pretty big deal there. But yeah, I'm very excited for Zoro and Wano. I think there's a lot of big things coming for him. But what do you guys think? What do you think the rest of Wano will be like for Zoro? Do you agree with what I said or disagree? Let me know in the comments below. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please hit that like button. It helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to keep up to date with when I'm posting new videos or doing live streams, you gotta hit that subscribe button. The Kingspire crew is now over 2,500 members. Thank you guys to the support. We are over halfway there to our goal of 5,000 members. Remember, Discord at 5K, help us get there. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to join the crew as well. Follow me on Twitter, I'm DKing4. Video for you right there, playlist for you right there, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.